Titans, go! Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Titan Talk, the Titans podcast. I'm Charles Skaggs, back in the Titans Tower once again with my fantabulous co-host and fellow Titan talker and just all-around neato guy, Jesse Jackson. How you doing, Jesse?
I am good. I am worried about Garfield, but I am good.
Yeah, it's not looking good. As for our favorite changeling or our favorite beast boy.
Yes.
Take your pick. Because there seems to be something going on in the trailer for the season 2 finale.
Yes.
And we can talk about that a little bit later, but looks to be some kind of funeral scene.
Yes.
So we'll see. But that's going to be next time.
Right.
So right now, as we're playing catch up, apologies we didn't get our episode up on Sunday. Time has not been our friend this week. So just we're juggling three podcasts right now.
I was going to say we're greedy. There's too much fun stuff to talk about.
Exactly,
so yes.
Exactly. So apologies to everybody. But I'm going to try and get this up as soon as possible for all you guys out there, hopefully to have a little Thanksgiving treat. But for right now, we're going to talk episode 48. We're talking Faux Hawk. You know, like Mohawk, but that kind of hairstyle.
Hawk, yes.
That kind of hairstyle where you kind of smush your hair up into a Mohawk shape, even though it's not actually a full Mohawk with the shaved sides. But
yes.
But yeah, so and obviously this has a double meaning because hey, there's somebody pretending to be Hawk in this episode.
There sure is.
This is the the 12th episode of Titan Season 2, released just back on November 22nd, 2019. Written by Tom Pabst, who wrote the Season 2 episode Ghosts, and directed by a new director to Titans, Larnell Stovall, whose work I am not familiar with. But basically, you know, we've got all our main stars. We get the introduction of a couple of new characters, though. At least a couple of new characters of note. A few characters, really. Jennifer Hassan plays Mai, the mother of Rose Wilson, who we'll talk about here shortly.
Okay.
A new character, or a new character, really, to this series. Curry Graham plays rather enigmatic character named Stu, the guy who's the head of the this tailor shop.
Yeah.
That turns out to be something a little bit more.
So Curry Graham is one of those where you go, oh yeah, that guy.
Right.
He just recently co-starred in The Rookie as Nathan Fillion's college friend who let him live in his guest house for free.
Right.
I first knew him as one of the bad lieutenants in NYPD Blue. He was a captain and everyone hated him, with Sipowicz. So he, if you go to his IMDb, he's been in House, he's been in Desperate Housewives, Boston Legal, just recently played a DA in Raising the Bar. And, this is a guy that has been very, very active on TV. He played Calvin Chadwick on Agent Carter.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
great character
he's
actor.
been in several genre things. Like in addition to Agent Carter, he's also
Yeah.
been on Arrow,
Hmm.
and he was recently on HBO's Westworld.
Yeah.
He's basically one of those that guy actor
Yeah.
type of character actor.
And I truly do think we don't give out MVP awards
Right.
in this episode like some podcasts do,
Yes.
but he would get my vote for MVP of this episode. Just he is perfect in this thing.
He is. At first we're like, well, is this guy Alfred or
Hmm.
supposed to be Alfred? But no, he's not Alfred.
Yeah.
He's Stu.
Yeah.
Which I'm guessing is probably short for Stuart.
Yes.
And we also have another character of kind of Stu's assistant, Lily, played
Hmm.
by Rashana Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
I'm guessing no relation, but
Hmm.
the only thing I have that she's been on of note is that she was on an FX comedy series that I absolutely adore called What We Do in the Shadows.
Okay.
So I'm a big fan of that show. It's a great vampire comedy from Taika Waititi,
Yeah,
and
I haven't watched that. I've heard good things about
it
it.
is outstanding. The writing
Yeah.
is razor sharp, kind of like in that Archer kind of vibe,
Okay.
but it's hilarious. Highly
Hmm.
recommended. So check out that show. And apparently she's in one of those episodes. Um, let's see, trivia this time. I have that just basically what I want to cover is that really quickly is that Rose talking about her eye getting taken out. There's that
Yeah.
really uncomfortable um,
Hmm.
dinner table scene
Yeah.
or breakfast table scene, which take your pick, where Rose is sitting down with Slade Wilson, her father, and Slade just kind of casually mentions that part of his plan is to take out Rose's eye,
Yes.
which I'd be like, I think it's time for me to leave. Now we
Yes.
don't see that, but
No, we do not.
but interestingly, so we don't know exactly if he indeed was the one who took out her eye.
Hmm.
In the comics, though, the reason I'm bringing this up is in the comics, and we've talked about this here in the podcast, is that to prove her loyalty after Deathstroke doubts her readiness after she's unable to kill Jericho, this is in the comics, when he was in possession of Beast Boy's body,
Yeah.
Rose took out her own left eye to reflect his missing right eye.
Hmm.
And this is something that Jeff Johns wrote in Teen Titans Volume 3, number 12.
Okay.
So if you're curious about the actual issue, comics issue where she loses her eye, that's the issue you should go to. Pretty gruesome scene for a mainstream DC comic too.
Hmm.
But that's what Jeff Johns loves. So
Okay.
as a lot of Jeff Johns fans could probably attest to. So I have 4 topics this week.
Okay.
We'll try and get through these pretty quickly. Topic number 1, right off the bat, I want to talk about Jericho.
Okay.
And the reason I want to talk about Jericho first is, well, for one thing, his scenes are early on in the episode.
Yes.
But we kind of finally get the revelation of what happened to Jericho after he was impaled by Deathstroke on Deathstroke's sword.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your reaction to? And this was kind of confirming one of the theories we had. So what did you make of that confirmation scene?
So yeah, I really like this. I think I was really happy they explained a lot. He, because of his father's, and this is, I'm coloring in the lines.
Right.
I get the feeling because of his father's strength and mental abilities and
Yes.
enhanced abilities, unlike normal, Jericho, when he inhabits someone, takes over their body,
Right.
and it's like they've kind of daydreamed or something. He can't do that to his father. Now, you get a scene where he kind of has control, but his father fights back. So now that explains all the questions we had about, well,
Right.
is Jericho wanting to kill everyone? No, he
No.
can't. He doesn't control his father. He's there.
He's trapped inside his father.
Yeah, and I don't
and
know.
I'm really happy about that, by the way.
Yeah, I am too, and I don't know what the end game on this is. Like, you have no body to go back to.
Right.
What are you going to do? Are you going to be, Boston Brand, the dead man in the DC universe going from body to body?
Right.
Where's
the body going to come from?
Yeah, where is this end game coming from? But I really, really like the reveal. I think it was a payoff, and this will come up in our next episode, our next podcast we're going to record tonight. The internet is very wide, and collectively
it's worldwide. In fact,
yes, it can be wise. And so if a TV series plays correctly, the odds are some people are going to figure out what they're planning, and therefore everyone will know.
Yes.
And if you don't do that, then you're not playing fair with the audience. Like, if you don't put clues or anything in there, then it's kind of not fair. So,
I want to give credit to the writers, because now that you bring this up, if you remember back in the when Slade was introduced on Titans at the end of Trigon, we were kind of wondering, like, well, okay, why is he having all these kind of tremors?
Yeah,
is he sick? What's up with that? But they were already setting the table. So I want to give credit.
I think so too.
Credit to the Titans writers on this one. We kind of give them a hard time because of the uneven quality of the series. But they did set the table, and they did start laying clues early on, and that's kind of one of the things that helped us figure out what was going on, and be suspicious and like kind of piece the puzzle together.
Absolutely.
So I feel like they did their job, and I think we kind of did ours by paying attention, and so it all worked out like we thought it would.
Absolutely.
Pretty much, except for we weren't sure if Jericho was going to be now evil or not, but like we talked about, I'm just glad that he's not, and he's just stuck inside his assassin father's body.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So paging Sigmund Freud on that one, but we'll find out how he gets out of it, and hopefully maybe Cadmus has a cloned body ready for him or something.
Yeah, could be.
That'd be kind of nice, wouldn't it? That he could get back into his own body.
Yeah.
Or at least, a duplicate of his own body or something to that effect.
Yeah, that would be nice, yes.
All right. Anything else about Jericho before we move on?
Nope, that's it.
Yeah, just a really great scene. Chella Man did a great job. It's so weird to hear him talk.
Yes.
And and it's like, well, okay, it's in his mind, in Slade's mind, so of course he can talk. He doesn't have his body that was mutilated by the assailant that cost him his voice. So yeah,
and I think they did a really good job of that all white. You see, very stark. You see Slade turning down the lights by moving his hand. It was just kind of like, I say, a mentally of turning down the volume of Jericho talking in his brain. It was really well done. Yeah,
and I can't imagine being stuck inside Deathstroke's head for 5 years.
No, I can't either.
How is he not insane after that?
Yeah.
You would think he would be insane after that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Now, topic number 2, since we're kind of on that Slade topic, let's dive right into the main topic. Let's talk about Rose and obviously Deathstroke, her father.
Yes.
And Jason Todd we'll throw in as well.
Right.
Because there's some rather significant developments on their relationship front.
Yes.
So before we get started, Jesse, any big thoughts about Rose? Essentially, we get the secret origin of Rose Wilson in this story.
This series does love their flashbacks, don't they?
Yes, they do.
And
it's a little too much, in my opinion.
I agree, but I think in this one it worked well.
Yeah. We needed the story told.
Yeah, we needed the story told, and I think if they had not gone to the well so often,
Right.
that this might have it
More,
would it
more,
wouldn't be as irritating. But
more,
I was
more
okay with it.
impact. Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought it was really good to see. You had rightly guessed that you thought Rose was going to be this version of Tara,
Right.
which I really give all credit to you. Um, I think they addressed a lot of stories on why is she doing this, what's going on, why she's involved. Um, it was just a good story. I like Rose a little bit more,
Right.
seeing this storyline. I do think it's kind of funny. Um, I think in a lot of ways, this is not fair. Slade this is a very bad time because a teenager in the middle of angst is always going to be arguing with their parent, especially the same sex parent.
Right.
And so they've got that. So he got it just at the right time where she's not very, she's pushing her daughter is pushing against her boundaries.
Yeah.
The mom is trying to do everything that right she can, and Slade comes in and is just plays it just the right way.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Slade manipulates that situation, but it's interesting because as we're introduced to Rose a 3-year, 3 years prior to the events of Titans. We're introduced to her that she was just seemed like this really sweet suburban kid. She's getting ready for prom, and she had originally like she was on the ground, like she gotten herself in this car accident where she like got hit by a car while she was on her bike, and she obviously heals from this rather severe injury. We kind of see her ankle reform itself back into place after being completely twisted around her foot. And she tries to downplay it, and she goes to her mom, and she's trying to relate to her mom. She's like, "Mom, this weird stuff's really happening to me. Maybe it's time you tell me who my father is."
Yeah.
And her mom kind of tries to blow this off at first, but she's like, look, I love you, your stepfather or adoptive father or whatever, or just unnatural father.
Right.
Gary loves you, but Rose presses her, and we find out that essentially Rose and Mai hooked up. Essentially, it was what Slade refers to as the last call at the Kansas City Radisson.
Yeah.
So essentially, this was just this meaningless fling, presumably after Slade had just killed somebody.
Right.
And it just happened to result in Rose.
Yeah.
So, which kind of surprising that Slade, being such a methodical person who prepares, would, I guess, not be sexually prepared with some form of birth control.
But they are not 99%.
No, they are not. But
yes.
Yeah.
So,
but regardless, it just,
yes.
she grows up. She becomes this sweet suburban kid. She's almost like a nice normal goody two shoes. She's not rebellious to her mom.
No.
She just kind of has questions. So when Slade though gets around, obviously Rose is curious about her father, and she kind of encounters Wintergreen somewhere, and he brings her back to Slade's pad and introduces her. Slade rebuffs her at first, like, look,
I got no interest.
Your mom was just a one night stand. Sorry that you were born, but that's it. Have a nice life.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then he kind of rethinks the situation a little, especially once she mentions that she has powers.
Yeah.
And so he kind of rethinks things and comes back and then probably decides it's not because he wants to have a relationship with her. It's just that he wants to use her for his big revenge plan against the Titans.
Yes,
That's the vibe.
absolutely.
That's the vibe I got.
She is a tool. I mean,
He-
she is very much a means to an end. Yes.
And since Slade is this long-term planner, um, part of his plan is that, oh, well, hey, I'll just train her as an assassin
Yeah.
and teach her all this stuff
Hmm.
and send her out to help me with my plan.
Yes.
And planning, basically intending to use her as a plant, like Terra in the comics,
Absolutely.
infiltrate the Titans from within and help him bring down the Titans from within. So,
Yes.
uh, whether, obviously there's not a lot of sentiment here with their relationship, especially, like I said, when he talks about taking out her eye really
Yeah.
casually. And in this, that right there, you think, well, that's okay. That's it. I'm out.
Yes.
But for whatever
Absolutely.
reason, and I still want to see the events of how she lost her eye, because
Yeah.
I think it would kind of put into context whether she's felt pressure doing this or he just did it against
Yeah.
her will.
And I've also, I've said, with her healing,
Yeah,
why is her eye still damaged?
exactly. So
Yeah.
maybe there's a story there. We'll
Yeah.
find out. But I mean, I'm sure. Hey, the Titans writers wouldn't turn the opportunity or miss the opportunity to do another flashback episode.
There we go.
But
Yes.
anyway,
Hmm.
um, Slade's really good at pushing her buttons. He sets up this big account for her, bank account, with loads it up with $1 million.
Yes.
So here we have this kid who's just graduating high school, and
Yeah.
she's set for life already.
Right.
And so this is kind of a big deal. And so she goes along with this plan. She breaks that, and we get the story, interestingly, in the frame. It's framed because Rose is actually telling the story to Jason
Hmm.
Todd. Jason was pressuring her, hey, look, I showed you all of my secrets, so why don't you tell me some of yours? And she finally does.
Yeah.
And so, and then maybe this is partly some of the guilt on her part,
Hmm.
um, and that she's trying to be honest with Jason. So she's telling him this story. And, obviously he has some understandable issues regarding this. So
Hmm.
what did you make of the way he reacted to all of this coming out?
In what way?
Well, just he at first he's kind of taken aback. He's like, look, is anything you told me you're basically Rose is telling him that she's a traitor to the Titans
Yeah.
and she's helped responsible for breaking them up.
Okay. Got it.
So he's feeling very betrayed. Is like, look, is our relationship real? Are you just lying to me about that too?
So Jason is very childish. We've established
Right.
that, and so this is
But he's trying. He's trying for the relationship in
eh,
a Jason Todd way.
I think we've had this discussion before where I have said I've not given Jason a lot of credit, and you've tried to say, yeah, he's trying to.
But I mean, I think he genuinely loved her.
Oh, I absolutely, and I believe he loves her now.
Right.
But it goes back to um, when they he was when he was sparring and the evil death rays from Rachel came out.
Yes.
And he reacted very emotional, and I went, dude, you've got to be better. And so he is just a hothead. He has
Right.
no filter. He hasn't anything. And this is immediately He feels betrayed, so he lashes out
Right.
instead of trying to. I understand this a little bit more, but
But he does. I mean,
uh,
it's understandable that he feels betrayed, though. I think
I get, but it
she was essentially a traitor for Deathstroke. That's kind of hard to get over.
yeah, but so let us he who's without sin cast the first stone. I just am not
Well,
a Jason fan.
you're just a much more forgiving soul, I guess.
I just don't think.
Yeah.
I just don't like his character the way they've got him going right now.
Right.
He just is. And so this is just more of the same. And
but
this I took you to the school and
yeah.
everything. Just he's just this.
Well, apparently it's his first relationship with anybody.
He acts like a spoiled 10-year-old.
Yeah.
And I just think he should be a little more mature than that.
Well,
and I get that he isn't.
If it helps, after he dies and gets resurrected, he's a lot more mature.
Yes, that's true.
Because dying kind of does that to you.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
But that's in the comics, so maybe we'll see that here. We'll find out.
Yeah.
When he becomes the Red Hood at some point. Spoilers.
Right.
So
yes.
So Jason's angry. He basically tells her to F off and leaves. Rose cries, then hears a phone. Guess who just happens to call at that particular moment? Who's probably watching everything that just happened.
I'm surprised there isn't a built-in in her eye socket microphone.
A camera
or microphone, yeah.
Maybe there is, for all we know. Maybe Rose doesn't know that. Maybe he does have one in there.
Exactly.
I wouldn't put it past him. It's Deathstroke.
I wouldn't either.
Yep.
So
he calls her up, immediately starts manipulating her. He says, like, oh, Jason's gone off to meet his friends. Like, it just happened. When did he have time to do that?
Yeah.
And he says, the Titans are getting back together, and he feels they should get back together too. And then he tells her to get back to San Francisco.
Yeah.
So the question now is, obviously, Rose is going to go back to San Francisco, but is she going to be allied with Deathstroke once again, her father, or is she finally had enough of him?
And I don't know what they're going to do. I think they're going to want to show her
right.
Trying to redeem herself. I don't know. It would be very neat if she's the one that ends up dying.
Yeah.
To save them, and that's the funeral we go to. I don't think that's going to happen, and that would be the Titan that died.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't lose any of our cast.
It's possible. I mean, they could have, even though Rose is kind of in that funeral shot of everybody all lined up in their funeral attire.
Yeah.
That could have been fake. That could be just a misdirection.
Yeah, and it's probably not. But the other thing is
I like Jesse. He's like, oh, it probably isn't.
Yeah, but the other thing is, this could be, we have seen Rachel have visions of funerals before,
right?
So this could be another vision. So I don't know.
That's a good point. That scene could be a vision scene.
Yeah, because she's seen that. She has seen Dick being killed at their fairly often, so we'll see.
So maybe this is kind of like a different type of vision, because one where Dick's alive but somebody else has died.
Yeah,
that's a possibility. I'll give you that.
Okay.
I think that's a very valid theory.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. All right. Topic number. Anything else about these three characters? Rose, Deathstroke, and Jason.
Nope.
All right. Topic number 3. Dick Grayson, Adeline, Stu, and Lily.
Yes.
So, fresh out of breaking out of prison, Dick,
which we did not need. I'm going to say that again. You could have had all this.
Agreed. Agreed. He could have just been like drinking in a bar somewhere, or had a meaningless one night stand with somebody,
or even in a monastery.
Yeah,
maybe, like
a spiritual, like he went to a spiritual retreat or something.
Yeah, like a gone and just kind of
He exiled
Yeah,
himself.
and
Yeah.
then versus because now then he's a fugitive. He's got all this
Right.
to get where we needed to go. But yes, he's available now. He's following up.
Now remember we talked about we were going to write that off, right?
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Okay.
It's yeah,
It's just too hard.
it's too hard. So yes, he goes and he
Hey,
talks to
Adeline. Yes.
Adeline and says, "Hey, did you know this at first?" And she's like, "I didn't know at first either." And they had a nice back and forth. He determines that he needs to suit up again.
Yeah.
And
Well, and he realizes that Slade totally played him, which everybody and their brother should be telling, added in the immortal words of Buffy Ann Summers from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, added up, it all spells duh.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
which is one of my all-time favorite Buffy quotes, by the way.
That is a great line. I love everything about Stu and the fruitcake and the reveal, except
So let's set the table on that really quickly.
Okay.
All right. So after Dick, talks to Adeline, and Adeline realizes that Jericho's inside Slade and asks Dick to bring her son back to her. He heads off. He decides, okay, I'm going to go to this shoe shop named Stu's Handmade Shoes and asks Stu for a new pair of shoes, which is apparently code for a new superhero costume.
Yeah, and wasn't there? Is it the Marvel universe that in the classic comics there was somebody who made their costumes?
No, but in the Flash.
Okay.
Classic Flash comics from the like the 60s and 70s.
Okay.
There was a guy named Paul Gamby.
Okay.
Who is the brother of Peter Gamby on Black Lightning. In case you're wondering.
I did not. I was wondering if that was the same thing.
That is the same. So Paul Gamby, Peter Gamby's brother, was actually this tailor who designed the costumes for all the rogues in Central City. So all Captain Cold, Trickster, whatnot.
Okay.
And so he became this kind of character that that the Flash would go to for information about the rogues and so on. But yeah, so there is a kind of a Taylor character like that, but that was in the Flash.
And in Marvel Universe, I just was Googling.
Yeah.
There was a Leo Zielinski who was a metahuman tailor for the villains. So
okay.
So yeah. Okay.
So I guess Marvel must have had their own Paul Gamby.
Yeah.
But Paul Gamby sticks out for me obviously because I'm Flash guy. So
sure, absolutely.
All right. So Stu says, "Well, hey, I'm not in the shoe trade anymore." Really leaning on this metaphor, and he says, "I'm actually in the fruitcake trade now."
Yes.
And Dick says, "Okay, I need a new fruitcake."
Yeah.
Grudgingly going along with this metaphor, and Stu counters by offering him what? An actual fruitcake.
Yes. And there is so much lines there that we don't want to get into it because I have saved those lines.
Quotes, yes.
Yes, there is a basically say both Stu and Lily are not very happy with how Dick treated their suit.
No, because remember back in Asylum, at the end of Asylum in season 1, Dick burns his Robin costume.
Yes,
and as
burns that mother down.
And as Donna had mentioned in the Donna Troy episode, those things are expensive.
Yeah.
So word apparently got out somehow to Stu that, hey, and presumably it's from Bruce because Bruce probably, I think he must have called Stu in advance saying, hey, Dick Grayson's going to be coming your way for a new suit.
And he does say that.
Yeah.
And this is where the greatness of the Curry Graham,
Yes.
because he plays this perfect,
Right.
like this. He has this. He moves his head and
Right.
his hand like, no, it's too painful for you to
Right.
even bring this up.
Well, it's kind of like a pretend pain, that he's
Uh-huh.
articulating here, gesticulating, really.
No, I think it's real, and I think it is. I think he truly is, and now he forgives him quickly.
But he's doing this to basically drive his point,
Yes, exactly.
like right into Dick Grayson's head. Like, look,
Yeah.
I'm kind of pissed off at you. So he's essentially being really passive aggressive here.
Yes,
with
and I'm also reminded of the lady from The Incredibles.
Yes.
The designer.
Edna Mode.
Yeah. All right. So everything about this.
What have you done to my suit, Robert?
Yes, I have loved everything about this, but here's my nitpicks.
Yeah.
Okay. One, I think it's realistic that Bruce would say Dick is going to come looking for a new suit.
Right.
Okay, I'll get that. But why did they design it to look like that? There is no discussion. Why do we have the two brothers tell the story of the rising bird? How did that connect?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to go with that way, he should say, okay, I like this, but can you make some changes in the color or add this emblem, right?
Well, maybe he does off camera. Because if you notice in this episode, we don't actually see the suit.
Yes.
We just see Dick's reaction to seeing the suit.
So, and I think when you mentioned that, I think that's a really good point. That, he could have, in other words, he saw the basic model. He can still get some customize. He can do some customization.
Yes.
Right. So,
like maybe off camera. They had a discussion like, hey, can you kind of fine tune this a little bit before I, make my big debut in next week's episode?
Yeah. Can you add the sunroof?
Yes.
I want to get heated. I want to get the seat warmers. So it was green and yellow. Can we change this to blue, midnight blue?
Add some trim.
Yes, absolutely. Okay.
Yeah. So we find out basically they run down what it's got. This new suit. It's like this Nomex triple weave Kevlar shell, electrically insulated and light sensitive. Meaning what? That he can apparently hide in the shadows. I'm guessing. Yeah,
and he doesn't he's got all kinds of fun things built into his mask and. So
apparently the way it's designed is that not like his Robin costume, which was more like armor. This is more designed to augment his ability to do acrobatics. Which, hooray!
Yeah, I thought that was a nice, some of your abilities.
Yeah, let's use your circus skills. Yes. So presumably, hopefully, we'll get a much more acrobatic Nightwing.
Yes,
that would be nice.
It would be, yes.
So the idea with move more, get hit less is their mantra.
Yes, I like that a lot.
All right. So anything else about Dick and Stu, Lily?
Nope.
Okay. Fourth and final topic. Since this episode's titled Faux Hawk, we got to talk about Hawk and Faux Hawk.
So I am going to agree with and I don't remember which criticism some online article wrote is the Titans don't know what kind of series it wants to be. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I do think they have a unproductive obsession where we have to keep storylines going. We can't just do one simple storyline. We got to have multiple storylines.
Well, you want to engage all the actors.
Right.
So
but
you got this big ensemble cast, so they want to feel like they have to use it.
I just don't know if
give everybody their moment.
I don't know if they're doing it very well. Like now you've
Now
got,
that I will agree
yeah,
with, because remember how long we were waiting for Gar to finally get a
yeah.
storyline.
And, so now then you've got, okay, we have Dick finding himself. We have Deathstroke out there. We've
Yes,
got Connor and Garfield under, Marcy's evil rule academist.
Mercy.
Yeah,
Yeah, Mercy
Mercy.
Graves.
Yeah, then
Yeah,
we've got, Hank.
we got Donna and Dawn, and this is a bunch of other topics. Like
Yeah,
we just don't have time to cover. Donna and Dawn were interrogating Walter Hahn.
yeah.
With hanging up in an apartment or whatever by Donna's lasso.
Because just
Yeah.
like in the Watchmen discussion we had, the
Yes.
guy he should know this is too good to be true. This is
Yes.
not a film where two beautiful women
Right.
come and deliver sushi to me. And then
Yes.
they want,
This is
ooh,
this is not a porn video.
yeah,
No.
exactly. This
Yeah.
is just dumb.
Yeah. We had Rachel and Corey's big fight in the
Yeah,
car.
yeah,
Gar's killing people, like you
yeah.
said. So,
Now,
yeah, there's a lot going on for everybody in this one.
I enjoyed we didn't get to talk, we don't have time to talk about, but I'll just say I enjoyed the Rachel
Yeah.
and Corey interaction. I thought that was a really nice scene.
Yeah.
Kind of, you didn't know who you were. Oh,
Yeah.
back
They
and
were
forth.
trash talking
Yeah,
each
in
other
the
and
right way.
getting really angry because, with
Yeah.
Corey being frustrated. Yeah.
Yeah. So not only,
And Corey finally admits that she's a control freak.
yeah, not only do we have Hank um, beating himself, getting involved in fights as a
Right.
punishment, but we have to have the
And
scene,
also for money.
yeah, the scene where he's too hurt to enjoy a night with a wrestling babe,
Yeah.
and a groupie, and
Yeah.
that he sold the suit for money so he could buy drugs.
$200 for cocaine.
Yeah, so it's we don't just have him.
But he doesn't remember doing it because
Yeah.
he was in such probably a drug-induced haze.
Yeah, so we don't just have he is to punish himself and to make money getting in fights, but we also have the drug addiction. It just seems a little too much. And
Well, they're trying to make Hank, like, the Roy Harper Arsenal, Speedy, if you will,
Yeah.
of Titans, because, well, we don't have Roy Harper because, hey, he's on Arrow.
Yeah.
So we need somebody to be drug addicted. Oh, hey, let's do Hawk.
Yeah, and so I think if you want to have a drug addiction storyline, that's fine, but I don't think you need all of this. It's a little too much, and it's distracting from the main story. I
Right.
don't think you needed that.
Yeah. So basically what we find out, Hank, after that one night stand that went nowhere because he passed out from being beaten up.
Yeah.
If you notice, he signed her boob too.
Yeah.
He autographed her boob. And she's like, "Oh, you're not Hawk." So he hears this news report about a guy in a Hawk costume robbing a laundromat.
Yes.
And it's that moment he's like, "Oh crap, let me check my closet. Oh no, my costume's gone."
Yeah.
And apparently this guy stole $3,000 in several boxes of detergent. So he goes to the laundromat looking for some kind of clue to find out the guy. There happens to be this really schmucky guy in his underwear. Who does anybody just stand in the middle of a laundromat in their underwear washing in 2019, especially?
So yes.
Washing their underwear.
So
or washing their clothes.
I assume the thought
this guy
is
only have one set of clothes.
Exactly. He only had, or he has limited set of clothes, so he wants to wash everything, shower,
was he at this
and
strip
dry,
club, and did he have glitter all over him, and he had to wash it before he went home?
It just was stupid. It's just stupid.
I'm trying to figure out this guy's rationale. I want to know about Underwear Guy a
Yeah.
little bit more. So anyway, Underwear Guy tells Hank, hey, this guy Hawk is on Instagram, and so Hank recognizes that the hotel room or
Yeah.
whatever, or the hotel that he's in. So he goes and apparently tracks down the guy's room, confronts the kid. Apparently, this kid's only like 17.
Right.
And Hank thinks he stole his suit. The kid tells him, "No, you sold to me for drug money
Yeah.
for $200." And so um, Hank's like thinks he's lying at first, and then he's like, "Okay, I'll pay you back
Yeah.
next week."
You don't have
And the
to.
guy's, "You don't have to." It was a privilege to wear the hawk.
Yeah.
And so Hank goes back to his hotel room and lies on his bed, staring at a big pile of cocaine on the nightstand.
Yeah.
So presumably this is going to be the moment where Hank's like, "Well, I'm really screwing up my life. I guess I better go back to the Titans, right?"
I guess.
So I don't think it's that easy
Yeah.
to do that,
Right.
but okay, whatever.
Exactly.
It is a very silly storyline, but
Absolutely.
they had to explain what happened to Hank after he and Dawn broke up, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I think you can write a better story. This is
Yeah.
yeah.
After Hank and Dawn had really great spotlight episodes
Yes.
in season 1. Those are two, those episodes, Hawk and Dove and Hank and Dawn were some of the best episodes of season 1, in my opinion. So it's very frustrating to see how Hank and Dawn are being used in season 2 rather poorly.
I agree.
And and you're just kind of like, oh, can we just move past this and
Yeah.
give them a much better storyline?
So I'm right there with you.
Fingers crossed for season 3,
Okay.
I guess. All right.
Yes.
Anything else about the episode?
Nope. Like I said, it wasn't a bad episode. In fact, I liked it a lot.
Right.
There's just things I didn't care about it.
Yeah. This it could have been better, but it's at least we're still kind of like sort of getting back on track. Dick's getting his suit.
Yes.
And presumably Hank is going to get back with the Titans. We'll see. But and we got a lot of background on Rose and that whole thing, so I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Absolutely, yes.
All right, and she broke up with Jason, so hooray for good taste, at least.
Yes.
All right, so do you have any favorite quotes of the episode?
Yes, I have several.
All right, go for it.
Rose talking to her father. Why am I doing this? I mean, is it just generally effery, the F-bomb, or is there a goal? I just really loved that line because I was thinking the same thing. Like, okay, he's brought this daughter.
Are you just effing with me?
Yes.
Or
yeah, I thought that was it. All right. How about you?
Yeah. I like Rachel and Corey's little meltdown in the car with each other.
Yeah.
Where Rachel goes, "Okay, so that's it. I don't get a say. You're just going to pull the adult card?" And Corey replies, "Yeah, well, someone has to make some adult decisions around here. No more running around after Dick Grayson because some intergalactic space witch had a bad dream." And I'm thinking, if anybody's the intergalactic space witch, it's probably Corey, right?
Yes, exactly.
She's the alien.
Yeah.
Rachel's maybe from another dimension, but she's not from space.
Yes.
So, okay, whatever. She was rolling.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
We talked about this already, but I thought it was a great discussion. They're eating breakfast or food, and Slade is like, "I'm going to cut your eye out," and Rose's like, "Haha, funny. You're too pretty anyway." That was just so cold-hearted.
Well, he says it so like emotionless.
Yes, absolutely,
and not like in a dry humor kind of way. He's just like matter of fact, like
absolutely,
like this is going to happen, and you're going to enjoy it.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
In that same vein, Rose and Slade I had, where Rose says, "We can start with this. I'm a freak," and Slade responds, "The circus always needs us. Beats cubicle work."
Yes.
I gotta agree with him on that one.
Yeah, so. A lot of great stuff with Stu. And so I have that where he goes, "I'm in the fruitcake trade now. Just haven't had time to change the signage. The maligning of the fruitcake, I will never understand." And then he pulls out the fruitcake. "Would you like to put a match of this before you have a slice?" That's how
stole my
Dick
line.
likes his fruitcakes.
Yes, yeah, exactly. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So apparently, apparently this is a rather sensitive
Yes.
subject with
Very
Stu.
unhappy. Yes.
Yeah. I thought Adeline actually had a pretty good line
Yeah.
in this story. She says, Jericho told me that you had some kind of special talent, that you could almost fly, take down legions of bad men, that you could do the impossible. Well, I've got one for you, Mr. Grayson. Bring my son back to me.
Yeah. That was
So
very
I
good.
th-
I liked it too.
so I thought that was good. Obviously, a mother looking out for her
Yeah.
son, and yeah, it was very appreciated on that one. Anything
The
else?
very last one was then when they go behind the secret panel, and Stu mentions Master Wayne said you'd be coming, and then the assistant, right, like burning the suit, like and I
Yeah,
thought a little bit of the great,
you mean Lily?
yeah,
Yeah,
Lily going, but the Office Space where they go. Are you having problems with your TPS report? You having problems with your TPS report? Everyone keeps repeating
yeah,
it, so everyone's going to give him a hard time about the suit. But I love that burning the suit. I had a bad day, and she goes, "Drama queen."
yeah.
I love that.
I love the fact that it's not just Stu and Lily working on this suit
Yeah,
technology. There's like a whole team of
yeah, there. Yeah,
guys.
this is yes.
Like they reveal this room and it's like there's all these guys and I'm thinking all these guys don't know that Bruce Wayne's Batman, right?
I don't know. Yes, exactly.
I mean that would be really
Yes,
irresponsible of Bruce in my opinion. And I can't see that happening. But, we're now on Titans.
yes.
All right. So what's your rating for this one?
So I like this one. I'm gonna give it 8.5 slices of fruitcake.
Ah, you took mine because I was gonna go with flambéed fruitcakes.
Nice that. All right.
All right. So I'm going to give this one, we're in sync. I
Okay.
like this one as well. I think it's a definite upswing, continuing the upswing
Yes.
from, um, you know, Cool Hand Dick,
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
if you catch that reference.
Yes.
Um, so I give it 8.5 out of 10. I'll go with Nomex triple weave Kevlar shell, electrically insulated, and light sensitive suits.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
nice.
All right.
All right.
So, Titans Tower news. I just have some really short Titans Tower news.
Okay.
The Titans Season 2 Blu-ray
Okay.
finally has a release date. So if you don't have DC Universe, you've been wanting to check out Titans Season 2, it's supposed to arrive on March 3rd, 2020.
Okay. Good.
So be on the lookout for that. Hopefully we'll get some good special features that are not on DC Universe. And like some outtakes would be great.
It would be.
I gotta think there's some really good outtakes with this show.
I would think so too.
They should really include those in my opinion.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, so email. So tell it to Titan Doc. We actually do have an email from Stephen Marshall.
Yay.
He was the only one to write in this time, but it's always great to have Stephen because he took the week off last time. So he's writing in about Faux Hawk. And he goes, "Hi, guys. Sorry I didn't get the chance to email last week. Faux Hawk got Titans back on track after last week's episode, which I mostly thought was poor. There was something about the tone of the episode this week that was much more like the episodes earlier in Season 2. Also, I don't think it's a coincidence that the show has gotten back on track when the focus is back on the Deathstroke plot either. Exactly. It's the main storyline.
Yes.
Instead of all these little side tracks, that again, Cool Hand Dick. I think we all know Jericho was still alive and the way he was still alive, but it was still cool to see. And he goes, I loved seeing Rose's backstory. It was an amazing journey, and her Ravager costume is absolutely amazing. Yeah, we didn't really talk about that, but we finally got the debut of her Ravager costume.
It did look good. I agree.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like is the mask because it just that big, large eye. And why is her, this was before her eye was taken out.
Yeah.
So why is her was it her left eye? Why is her left eye already blacked out?
I don't know. Yeah. Good
I
point.
don't get that at all.
Yeah.
It's like you might want to have changed that,
Mhm.
considering where we are in the chronology
Yeah.
here. He goes, my favorite moment was the training scene with her and Slade. That was a really great scene.
Yes.
Pretty brutal, and obviously with Slade having all those nails around the edge of the ring,
Mm-hmm.
so that she landed on those. Um, Hank falling asleep while doing the deed was hilarious, by the way.
Yes.
Doing the deed, how adorable. I feel so bad for Gar. He's really in the worst place of all the Titans right now.
I agree.
Pretty much, yeah, because he's being mind controlled into becoming a killing machine.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, not looking good for Beast Boy right now. And lastly, Dick finally getting the Nightwing suit felt like a long time coming. Yeah, 2 seasons worth, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Such a satisfying moment, even if we do have to wait until next week to see him in it.
Yes.
Yeah, but we do get to see him in it at least. And it looks like he's in a fight scene, so it's not just going to be at the very end of the episode like we were dreading.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's cool, because I would have felt really robbed by that if that was the case. Anyway, thanks again, guys. I'm looking forward to next week's season finale. Kind regards, Steven. So thank you, Steven. Great to hear from you again.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, glad you're enjoying the episodes. Glad we're all kind of back on the upswing once again. And everybody, if you want to be like Steven Marshall, and please do, write to us. We want to hear your thoughts, especially with the Titan season finale next week. So tell it to Titan Talk at titantalkcast@gmail.com. That's titantalkcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And you can also reach out to us on Twitter, on the Twitter machine at Titan Talk Cast, or on Facebook, Titan Talk, the Titans Podcast.
Good.
And then also you can, if you would go to iTunes, rate and review us, or Apple Podcasts rather, rate and review us, because that helps people find us, gets a little more noticed, and that would be fantastic if you would please do that. So hopefully you're enjoying our little show, and because we definitely enjoy talking Titans with you guys, and do what you can to help. It would be fab.
Absolutely.
All right. So, Jesse, where can they reach you on the interwebs?
So you can hear me on Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast with Charles. We sit there, and we just recently talked a Big Finish audio series. Charles has guest companions that join him to talk both classic and modern Doctor Who. Check that out. We will be we're going to be discussing a Christmas special coming up, and we're hoping that we'll be back regular episodes with New Who in 2020. Don't have a premiere date yet, but they are insinuating that it could be soon.
Maybe New Year's Day. So
yeah.
So we might be having some new Doctor Who episodes at last.
Yes.
That'd be great.
On the Phantom Zone podcast, we are currently making our way through the brilliant HBO series Watchmen. It is truly something extraordinary. I am loving watching the series, and I'm loving talking to Charles about it. So check us out on the Phantom Zone if you are watching the Watchmen, and if you aren't, figure out a way to start watching it, and then join us and let us know what you're thinking. I just released a episode from my buddies and I on How Many, where we talk Quentin Tarantino films to talk about that. Yes, we had a good discussion with that. And then, of course, finally, Set Listing Bruce, the Bruce Springsteen podcast, where I talk to Bruce Springsteen fans from around the world. When I'm not on a podcast, you can find me on Twitter at Jesse Jackson DFW. And Charles, how about you?
Yeah, wow, that's a lot. You're a busy guy, Jesse.
I am a busy guy.
All right. So everybody, when you're not listening to Jesse, if you would, you can find me at Charles Skaggs on Twitter, at Charles Skaggs on Instagram, Facebook, of course, and Charles Skaggs in Hilliard, Ohio. And my blog of Geeky Things. Come here, you. I'm a little late on the draw here. Sorry about that. There we go.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
There you go. So all of you out there can take a drink for the drinking game. Damn Good Coffee and Hot, where I talk about all the stuff we talk about here on Titan Talk, including Titans news, comic book sci-fi news of my other podcasts that I do for Southgate Media, including the aforementioned Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast, and the Fandom Zone podcast that I do with Jesse, who's fantabulous as a co-host. And also Ghost with the Twin Peaks podcast I do with Zan Sprouse, wife of comic book artist Chris Sprouse, where we talk about all things Twin Peaks, David Lynch, etc., and a crap ton of pop culture references. So we have a lot of fun. If you've heard Zan and I on Next Stop Everywhere or some others, we have a ball. So please check us out there. It'd be definitely appreciated.
Yeah.
All right. So next time on Titan Talk, it's the big finale, everybody. The big season 2 finale. Nightwing is the episode title. Obviously, for obvious reasons. We finally get to see Brenton Thwaites suited up as Nightwing. And like we talked about, there's going to be a big Nightwing versus Deathstroke fight, round 2, presumably, because before, remember, we had Robin versus Deathstroke. Well, now we have Nightwing versus Deathstroke.
Yeah,
and,
I'm really excited.
And it looks like he's got his Eskrima sticks, and should be pretty cool. And it'd be fun to see. It looks like Don is going to have a really interesting reaction to Dick's new superhero identity.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that a lot.
And hopefully our favorite hero won't end up getting busted by the Popo for breaking out of prison.
Absolutely.
Fingers crossed, right? All right. So everybody, thank you so much for listening. Again, apologies for the taking a few extra days getting this one out, but hopefully everybody has a great Thanksgiving weekend. Watch a lot of football, eat a lot of food, whatever your normal ritual is. And then coming back for Titan Talk next week's episode for episode 49 of Titan Talk, Nightwing. It's going to be fun. And we'll see you next time right here on Titan Talk, the Titans podcast.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.